Hey, this is Kirby at Electric Fossil Studio in Milford, Delaware. And today I want to do a profile on an engineer producer that I look up to and just in awe of as far as their career. And that's Brendan O'Brien. Brendan O'Brien might not be a household name to you as far as that person, but you certainly know his body of work. And I'm going to rattle off to start here some of the stuff that he has done. The Black Crowes, Shake Your Moneymaker. You know, the one with Hard to Handle. Stone Temple Pilots, Core. The big hit off that album. Plush. Blood, Sex, Sugar Magic by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Give It Away. Under the Bridge. Pearl Jam 10. Pearl Jam Versus. Pearl Jam Vitalogy. Pearl Jam No Code. Pearl Jam Yield. Pearl Jam Binaural. You know, it's that's it. I mean, pretty much he was involved with the, I would say, my favorite part of Pearl Jam's career. Temple of the Dog. Aerosmith, Get a Grip. Soundgarden, Super Unknown. Black Hole Sun. Rage Against the Machine, Evil Empire. The one with Bulls on Parade, People of the Sun. Train, Drops of Jupiter. Kill Switch, Engage. Mastodon, Crack the Sky. The last three AC/DC albums, including Rock or Bust. He's done several albums with The Offspring, including Splinter. And I think the last three or four Bruce Springsteen records. But the most notable one is The Rising. He's also had the opportunity to play with Neil Young, with Bob Dylan, and incredible. Now, is he living on Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles, hobnobbing, having coffee with all of the coolest A&R reps and everything? Nope. Brendan O'Brien is from Atlanta, Georgia. That's where he was born and raised. And that's where we did a lot of these recordings. Now, there's a lot of these like Pearl Jam records where they were in Seattle or they're in LA to record, and then sometimes on Southern Tracks studio in Atlanta, Georgia to record, which is sadly no longer there. But he did a lot of the stuff was in Atlanta. People will come down to him. Mastodon and all those other bands. So that kind of illustrates some of the points that I've had about all this is that even before, this is everything was on tape. Everything was recorded to tape then, with most of all these records. So before the advent of the incredible technology that we have, and the freedom of the internet to be able to work remotely and everything else, you were still able to record in a remote setting. You didn't have to go to Los Angeles or have to go to Nashville, have to go to New York. Not that any places are good, bad, but those are, you don't have to. Now, the advantage of the Nashvilles, the New Yorks, and the LAs and such is you have access to musicians and equipment. There are companies out there that'll say, hey, you need to rent super high dollar guitar. Well, you can come here, high dollar amplifier, you can come here, rent it for a couple days. You need a musician to play a steel string part, we've got 10. You get into more rural locations like in Milford, Delaware, that becomes a little bit harder to find. You have to kind of search and you gotta have to network and know the musicians to be able to kind of pull that off. But you could do it, it's just not as easy as it is in the bigger locations, and that's the draw. Plus, some of those cities are super nice, and no knock on Nashville, LA, New York, but Atlanta is quickly becoming a really big city and doing really big things. But all this work was done in the 70s and 80s and 90s and early 2000s, which it was still on the rise, so to speak. Anyway, this Brendan is known for his guitar sound, and I think if I had like one question is just what is the snare that is the sound of Brendan O'Brien for a good stretch of like 8 years. There was a snare that he used that was just remarkable. It sounds fantastic, and I'd love to know that. But besides that, I think that's the lesson I picked up on with is doing the best you can to make the bands you work with sound great, um, and not sweating being in a high profile location, just enjoying where you're at. So thanks to Brendan and Brien, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.